Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all having a good time at Glee and really enjoying the show. Before we get into the presentation, I just wanted to give you a little introduction about myself and my role at TrendBible. So, as mentioned, I'm Rebekah Hutchinson. I'm a Trend Consultant at TrendBible. So I've been with the company for about 6 years now, and my background is in surface design. So I was a print designer, but I've always had a passion for research and for interior design, and trend forecasting really marries those two passions together. And at TrendBible, I work on the bespoke consultancy side of the business. So I work directly with clients, making them understand future consumer behaviours and give them the confidence in making the right decisions within this fast-changing world. And as you can see on the photos on the right-hand side there, I am very passionate about outdoors. I'm a huge outdoor lover. I'm very much into my hiking. I'm trying to tick off all of the Wainwrights in the Lake District at the moment. There's about 200 and odd, and I've done about 10. But I'm getting there. So yeah, I'm very excited today to be here at Glee and to present these trends to you. So just to quickly run through the agenda for today, firstly, I'll give a short introduction about life at TrendBible and why trends matter. And then I'm going to go into an overarching view of how consumer mindsets are shifting for 2023 and beyond. And then I'll get into the juicy stuff, so into our trend presentation. And this will just give you 4 overarching macro trends affecting the home, garden, and outdoor for 2023. So let's start with an introduction to TrendBible. So TrendBible are a global trend forecasting agency. Our main head office is based in Newcastle, but we are all around the world. So we have freelancers around the world, and we have a remote team in London as well. So the business is set up to understand the future of life at home. So that includes how people are interacting, how people are working, resting, playing, cooking, how people are celebrating as well and decorating their homes. And we cover a wide variety of industries. So that covers FMCG, textiles, trying to think of the clients that I work with, paint companies, kitchens, DIY, gardening, obviously, and also celebration and gifting as well. So it's a very broad remit, but held together by the focus on the home. Just to quickly give you an overview of our services at TrendBible. So we have our trend forecast. So these have 4 trend stories within them, and they give direction on shape, material, colour, print, and pattern as well. We also have our subscription service, which allows you to stay up to date with the latest home trends. So our editors are constantly feeding this channel with new reports, and this will give you the confidence and knowledge to and choices for new product developments, for marketing campaigns, and it's also tailored to you, so it provides insights and trend intelligence relevant to your sector. And lastly is our bespoke consultancy channel, which is, like I've mentioned, where I work, so you get to work with me. This allows us to filter trends and frame information in a way that is tailored to your brand. So we will work with you to help you to understand challenges and provide support, guidance, and opportunities for your brand as well. So now that you know a little bit of who TrendBible are and what we offer, let's discuss why forecast trends. So why are trends important? So trends are a vital tool in supporting the growth and evolution of a company. So trends are important because change happens. So and that change could be anything from something obvious like the pandemic. So obviously that threw a real spanner in the works for a lot of your businesses. And also it could be small, discrete changes like a rise in people renting, or a cultural movement surfacing on TikTok. And at TrendBible, we monitor and track these changes, and that helps brands gain new customers, new technologies, new business models, so it helps brands gain new opportunities. So now you might be thinking, how do we monitor that change? So I just wanted to include here, at TrendBible, we use a number of methodologies to monitor and predict change. So this is our catalyst, attitude, and behaviour model. It shows how the big picture catalysts, such as big events like I've mentioned, the pandemic, world issues, changes in legislation, so changes in laws, how these can filter down and have an impact on consumer attitudes and behaviours. So I'll just quickly go through this example. So on the right-hand side there, on the gold and yellow section, is the big picture catalyst that we're always monitoring, what's happening in the world. So these are things like the climate crisis. And then heightened conversations around this led to shocking amounts of plastic found in the oceans. And then we saw David Attenborough's Blue Planet 2 surface and come out in 2017. And this really started to, people started to like lobbying and really activists coming about. And then we saw the Environmental Secretary Michael Gove banned plastic straws in 2018. So because these happened, then we saw changes in attitude. So we started to see people saying things like, I want to save the turtles, or I don't need plastic straws that badly. And then we start to see these behaviours change, and brands like Wetherspoons, so mass market brands like Wetherspoons, introduced paper straws in 2018. I'm sure many of you bought a metal straw and had that on a night out before. And then, all of these sections here provide opportunities for brands. And at TrendBible, we can help you to understand all of these future attitudes and behaviours, and understand when that time is to act on those attitudes as well. So it's the attitudes that we're looking for here, that we're keeping an eye on, and that's really when a brand needs to act, because when it gets to behaviour level, it's kind of too late. So we are constantly monitoring catalysts and changes in attitudes, and today I wanted to give you a quick overview of 3 of the future consumer shifts that we know will impact garden and outdoor the industry for 2023 and beyond. So first up, we have the nomadic lifestylers. So these have a temporary mindset. They are in tune with adaptable design, and everything they do is centered around outdoor lifestyles. Then we have the conscious consumer, which is on top of everyone's mind at the moment. And they are seeking zero waste lifestyles. This group will always be conscious of the health of the planet and also for the health of themselves as well. They are constantly seeking out wellness. And also that last point there, with the current rising cost of living, these consumers will be conscious about their spending, so they are looking at ways to improve but not moving, so tapping into that don't move, improve mindset. And then lastly, we have the resilient homemakers. So this consumer group has a recessionary mindset, and they are fully embracing a self-sufficiency, which is driving a DIY culture boom as well. So moving on to the macro trends, these have been driven by these 3 consumer shifts. And it's critical for brands to understand these in order to get ahead on developing successful product ranges, ad campaigns and marketing strategies as well. So I'll be presenting 4 macro trends today. So each one is explored in more depth, and they will be broken down into micro stories as well. So these will provide you with commercial confidence, to support new product initiatives, to go after a new demographic, or to develop a new brand extension. So today we have the Wasteless Home, we have Hack Life, we have Restore and Rewild, and Design for Reconnection. So let's start with the Wasteless Home. So this is driven by those conscious consumers who are striving for zero waste lifestyles. The first micro trend here we have is accessible composting. So we are seeing a number of innovative brands making composting easy and accessible at home. So one of them is SubPods. This is the big image there. So their mission is to make composting a part of everyday life. Their Modbed, which is a product, it's the world's first modular closed-loop garden system. It's powered by nature, so it uses worms to break down the food waste, and this creates a nutritious fertilizer that feeds the soil to grow your own food. So by using worms, it's more beneficial for the environment. The other 2 examples on the right there, so these are 2 smart home composters. So they are designed to make home composting incredibly easy. So with a touch of a button, they turn waste into soil, and that's as quick as 4 hours as well. Next up, we have plantable packaging. So biodegradable alternatives to packaging will be key, as consumers want to feel like they are doing something towards fighting climate change, providing an activity which they can easily engage in after buying a product which is rooted in nature will give additional appeal. I've seen a really good product here today. It's Plantable children's books. I definitely recommend checking it out today. It taps into this trend. So the top left image here is being created with seed paper, and the egg packaging on the right also has seeds infused with it as well. And the Hackles example there has been made with mycelium, which is the root system of mushrooms. And again, it's got seed paper around it, so again, these can all be planted. Next up we have is fully circular. So circular models are maximising resources and minimising waste. So many brands are now taking action and committing to becoming 100% circular. So that means a business with zero waste. So a few brands taking action here to mention: sustainable outdoor furniture brand Oxley, the image on the top right there, have a buy-back service. So they will buy back any piece of furniture that within 10 years of purchase, and they'll buy it back for half its original price, so to then recycle it and give it a new life. Also, Habio, the bottom image there, so they have created the UK's most sustainable sofa. So I saw this product at Clerkenwell Design Week early this year, and they are designed to last, but again, when the product comes to its end of life, they recycle it. Other services we are seeing, so the top left image there, Dobby's Garden Centre partnered with sustainable brand plant pot designer, Elho, and they are providing plastic pot recycling bins across 69 of their garden centres. So that's to support Elho's in repairing and reusing and recycling their pots. Another thing to think about here is the waste within your company. So can you create a new product, a byproduct from the waste your company produces? So I've seen many brands across trade shows that I've been to this year. One was a carpet manufacturer, and they had loads of carpet waste, and they created a table and they created a notebook from their waste. So the example here on the left there is by a sustainable packaging brand, Notpla. And they've created a paper using their seaweed leftovers. So it's about making sure that everything within your business is being used. Next up, we have the Wasteless home, the Waterless innovation, sorry. So with the cost of living increases, brands have the opportunity to tap into the need for products that use less water. Again, I've seen a few of these around the show. So changing how they manufacture and formulate products to limit their dependence on water will be key. So shown here are a few innovative brands doing this. Looking across industries, so we've been tracking this Waterless innovation within the beauty industry for some time now. And Hackles, again, the beauty brand I mentioned before, they've launched this Waterless body cleanser in a pill format. So they produced that in 2020, and now we're starting to see these innovations come in the garden space. So just to mention some of the images here, the top left one is by Gardena, and there is a watering system which does not require a mains water supply. So it's solar-powered control unit with an integrated pump that draws in water and distributes it evenly to your plant. So the micro-drip system can save up to 70% of water, and compared to like a garden sprayer. And also on the right-hand side there is a brand called Grow Oya, and they use more traditional roots. It's a clay pot that you fill with water, and you bury it in the ground, and the moisture seeps out of it slowly to water your plants. And over time as well, the roots of your plants will go around this pot, so that it attaches it to the pot, so they only take what they need. So again, it's limiting the use of water that you need. Next up, we have all weatherproofing. So again, with the uncertainty of climate change, this is driving consumers' demand for all weatherproofing products. So products that are designed to last and can be kept outside in all weathers will be key for consumers. Due to the recent storms that we've had in the UK, we've seen a rise in concrete fencing to reduce damage from severe winds. The Brigade's Act on Flooding, which was presented at the Chelsea Flower Show this year. This was designed to highlight the issues of flooding in urban areas. So it explains how permeable paving and extract planting can reduce the risk of flooding. Again, I've seen Decopack, a brand here, with presenting some permeable paving, so I recommend checking them out as well. And also we are seeing high-tech yarns and UV-resistant and waterproof products being used for soft furnishings and weather-resistant epoxy paint being used for furniture. So here, really think about the materials you are using. So what innovations can you bring to the market? So and to your products, like last all year round. So people will really invest if you give them more functionality, and it will increase your spend all year round as well. Next up, we have the celebration of waste. So those fully circular processes that I mentioned earlier are putting a spotlight on waste by finding new ways to extract these materials that we commonly use that are under threat, so plastic. The result is these desirable and unique products that vary in pattern and surface, but they have little impact on the planet. I'll just go through some of the images here on the top left there. That's Smile Plastic, so they are recycled plastic products. We have Forezzo in the middle there, so that is recycled timber terrazzo, and I'm really enjoying seeing the use of colour that they're using at the moment. Also, we have on the bottom left there is Husk. So this they create plant pots which are made out of agricultural waste and plant-based fibres. So they can be biodegradable composites. The table on the right there is by a Dutch designer. He's very influential in his practice. So he shows that highly colourful and endless possibilities of surface pattern can be achieved through recycling waste. And the top image there is a book. So this is The Wasted Book, which was published in 2020. But it's about when waste becomes treasure. So it celebrates 30 designers, makers and manufacturers who use waste as their primary resource. So just another food for thought here. So really think about taking consumers on this journey to see the value in these new composite materials. So see the value in the unique and imperfect. So the next trend we have is hack life. So this trend is driven from a self-resilient mindset, so spurred on from the pandemic. So we are seeing a rise in fearless DIYers and consumers hacking their lives to make them more organized, simpler, and easier as well. First up, we have female upskilling. So we're seeing a rise in female self-taught DIYers making their house a home with their own two hands, not relying on anyone else in their household to do that with them. They're embracing a give-it-a-go attitude and mindset. Just a few influencers to mention here. So Cass Smith, the woman on the left there, she is not scared to tackle large home improvements projects on her own. She's sharing these on her social media channels, telling people how they do them. It's become her passion, and she's inspiring others to do the same. We are also seeing a rise in DIY culture boom with the Gen Z generation, so people born between 1997 and 2012. So we're seeing this rise on TikTok. So these are consumers who are just tapping into that housing market. So again, think of that demographic for your business as well. Emily Rayner on the bottom right there, she provides budget design hacks, tips and tricks for the home and garden space. So for this trend, really think about how you could support that self-resilient mindset, either by providing budget hacks or tips. And there's a really huge opportunity to partner with these influencers as well. Next up, we have convenience gardening. So we are seeing a rise in subscription gardening models, which are taking the hassle out of traditional gardening. So this is providing simple and low-maintenance solutions. So they're a great way for beginners to tap into gardening and to get involved, and they're really nice for gifting as well. So the bottom right image is by Window Fleur. So they deliver ready planted window boxes straight to your door. The subscription boxes can fit any window as well. They come pre-planted, and each season you get a new bag of plants to plant. Also, the top there, this is Pot Gang, so that's very similar. They provide everything you need to start planting, and again, it's delivered to your door. And then the right-hand side is Eden Smart Garden, so they use technology to make gardening easy and seamless. So the app keeps track of what you've planted. So you can set the light schedule as well and check your water level. So it just makes it convenience for the consumer. Next up, we have elevated storage. So we've seen a rise in elevating mundane spaces. So during the pandemic, people had more time on their hands. They've been gutting out their houses. They've been organising their lives. So we've seen sheds and garages having no exception to that as well. Clever storage solutions and painted zoned areas and making finding things much easier. And also, it's bringing joy to these spaces as well. So these are spaces that people feel comfortable in and want to be in. Next up, we have smart gardening. So we've seen a rise in at-home micro-farming with smart mini greenhouses and balcony gardens that are self-watering and climate-controlled systems. So they do the hard work for you. All these devices have high-tech integrated to control the growth of the food, so you can be a gardener without the effort. So these will be really inviting to the younger market because of the tech element and the Instagrammable experience of it. And I really think CMF will be important here as well because these are for in the home. So the CMF is important to go with the rest of the house. Next up, we have reclaimed DIY. So with the rising cost of living and heightened conversations around the environment, it's spurring on a use what you have to create what you need mindset. And a reused and reclaimed look is being celebrated here. The image on the left there, it's a greenhouse made from gathered windows and doors. And the woman initially wanted to paint it white, but she liked this eclecticness look of it and really wanted to embrace kind of like an old is new look. And then also I don't know whether many of you recognize him, but he's a footballer, activist and urban gardener. So I'm sorry if I get his name wrong, Tyshawn Hayden Smith is doing really interesting things with pallet wood on BBC's Your Garden Made Perfect. And he's really helping families on a tight budget to build something unique from scrap. So he's definitely one to watch within that space. Next up, we have flexible and modular. So as consumers embrace a more temporary mindset, products that are flexible, adaptable, and modular will be key. They need to be multifunctional to cater to multiple activities, and they need to be adaptable and flexible to weather conditions as well. So some of the shown on the images here are lights in the middle there. So these can be sat down, they can be hung up. So again, it's having that adaptability to put them wherever you want them. The poofs on the right-hand side there, these can be used as seats or tables. And the desk, which is shown there, has multiple uses for your workspace in the garden or that social space of having friends around as well. Our next trend is restore and rewild, and I'm seeing a lot of businesses tapping into this trend at Glee today. So this trend is all about restoring and rewilding the garden to support the planet, but also for consumers to restore their health and well-being. First up, we have the Tapestry Lawn. So with the heightened worry about climate change, brings more understanding of the need for biodiversity. And we've seen a rise in organisations and professional gardeners pushing out initiatives to move away from fertilised green lawns to a more wildlife-friendly, plant-led lawn. Plant Life's No More May project, which ran earlier this year, was a month of not mowing your lawns, allowing wildflowers to bloom. So we expect to see a return, people retune their eye to an aesthetic that is natural and perhaps a little more rough around the edges, but they may be starting small, so not their full lawn, maybe just starting with a section of their lawn at first. Restoring well-being will be key as well. So we've seen a rise in glass extensions. So these bring massive amounts of natural light in, and they're a way to connect with nature all year round, so even in the winter. And these two factors are vital to our health and well-being. The images on the right-hand side there are a reconfigured 1960s terraced house. It was named the winner of this year's Don't Move, Improve award by New London Architecture. So you can see how much natural light it's bringing in there. Next up is the kitchen garden. So this is stemming from that self-resilient mindset that I mentioned earlier. It's spurred on from food production issues, and more people are learning to grow their own food. We've seen a rise in people converting their back lawns and into vegetable patches, and a rise in hashtags such as hashtag kitchen garden, hashtag edible garden, and hashtag backyard food as well. So with the cost of living crisis driving up food prices, we expect more people to tap into this trend over the coming years, and brands have an opportunity here to help educate and provide the tools and resources for consumers to make the leap into growing their own food. Our final trend is designed for reconnection. So the consumer demand for reconnection grows as we enter a post-pandemic society. Although the impact of COVID-19 is probably far from over, we look at themes and concepts to aid intimacy and connection within our garden spaces. So first up, we have community spirit. So gardening is providing a way to bring people together. So we've seen a rise in community gardening, communities coming together to tackle global food shortages. The bottom left-hand image there, Allot Me. So this is a garden sharing marketplace. The digital platform helps people to find spaces to grow food in the city. They say it's as easy as booking an Airbnb or booking a taxi. So it pairs local residents with available space and gardens in their area. The images on the top left there, this is the Alder Hay Urban Foraging Station from Chelsea Flower Show. So it weaves together young and old, play and learning, and it's designed to encourage engagement with nature through foraging, sharing healthy food, and relaxing together as well. So with the rise of, I think a really good food for thought here is with the rise of multi-generational households, how can you make a garden inclusive for all? So how can you bridge that generational gap to make your products that support caregivers, grandparents, etc., able to interact with and play with their younger cohorts? Next up is moments of togetherness. So the pandemic has made us much more aware of our own mental health and how we learned firsthand how our gardens have helped us through this time. So the Mind Garden, which is the bottom right-hand image there, is a garden, again, from Chelsea Flower Show, but it's inspired us to connect, share experiences, and find comfort together for our mental health. And we are also seeing a rise in seating systems and arrangements that are curved and circular, bringing together users to work, dine, and socialize. So these rounded furniture pieces here kind of give that vibe of like sitting around a fireplace. Not a fireplace, a fire pit. Next up is ecological connection. So for 2023, householders are seeking reconnection with the natural world and will be looking for products and that can attract wildlife and make their gardens nature friendly. The image on the right-hand side there is the J-Day balcony garden, which was showcased at Chelsea Flower Show. It's a great example of how to do this. So it has been designed to attract jays and other species as well of birds, but inspiring visitors to move from a human-centered space to a more one that is inclusive of urban wildlife. The top image up on the top there is the Meta Garden. So this was also showcased at Chelsea Flower Show, and it highlighted the importance of connection between plants, soil and fungi in our ecosystems, and how we can learn from this for the future. And in terms of products from this, the Terra project here is leading the way with this. So it's a small, weatherproof audio and radio receiver designed to give users a direct way to listen and learn about the birds and animals nearby, and then they can provide the solutions for them within their garden. And lastly, we have time for oneself. So after a period of uncertainty, consumers are on the quest for healing, which sees more and more people carving out spaces and time for introspection. So the garden will play a really important role in this, and we will see consumers creating their own private little oases where they can relax and enjoy the soothing powers of nature. I'm sure many of you might have seen Studio Ben Allen's shed that he designed for the garden. It was a beautiful garden office. So if you haven't, check it out. But the image on the right-hand side there is inside of this, and he creates this really nice seating nook, which is perfect for that time for oneself. And also the Blue Garden, which it was called by Tom Wilkes, celebrated what is possible in a small space, so thinking about balconies and the joys of being in it alone. So he said the garden is designed as a solitary experience for meditation, contemplation, and reflection, and we should all enjoy time by ourselves. So that concludes the macro trend presentation. So I hope that was helpful. I hope it was inspirational, and you've got lots of ideas to take away with you. Just to run through, before you head off and enjoy the rest of your time at the show, I just want to give you a really quick recap on some of the additional trend service that we can offer for you. Probably a really good time to get your camera out or a notepad. But just to run through our services again, so I've listed here some. We have our trend forecast, we have our subscription service, and our consultancy services as well. If you want to know anything more about these, my colleague Stefan, just at the back there, giving you a wave, just speak to him at the end. And I've also listed here a few reports we have on our premium membership. So this is on our subscription service, our platform that I've mentioned. Particularly, these are ones I've picked out here, particularly for the outdoor category that I feel like you might be interested in. And if you would like to arrange a tour of the platform, you can do this with Stefan, and you can also email us on letstalk@trendbible.com at the bottom there. And if you want to get a date booked in with Stefan, you'll be eligible to save £1,000 off an annual membership. And lastly, our seasonal trend forecasts are available for both spring, summer, and autumn, winter. And these enable you to work with design and product trends 12 to 14 months ahead of season. So you can just quote Glee 2022 there. So yeah, that is everything. But if you want to chat with us, I'll leave our emails up on this slide here, and I'll hang around for 10, 15 minutes if anyone has any additional questions and wants to have a chat. I'm here all afternoon if anyone wants to grab a coffee. But yeah, just let me know. But thank you very much.